I'm gonna let these ladies do the things first.
We're having a fun night though, aren't we? I can't hear you. We're having a fun night, right? Great music, great company, great people, great occasion. I can't think of a better occasion to be here tonight than celebrate the coming together of Jefferson and Marla. I'm on a trip. I'm a pacer. I like to pace. I thought this would be wireless. I'm John Riley Dowdy, brother, best man, and off and on former roommate of Jefferson. He always had the top bunk, I always had the bottom bunk. Although it's weird because he's afraid of heights, so I don't know how he was up on the top.
I was clinging.
Yeah, clinging.
Like a cat.
You know, I was thinking the other day, I still remember the first day Jefferson came home from the hospital. Although if you ask my wife, Layla, she thinks that I've made it all up, that it's all just from photographs. That as a 5-year-old I can't remember. Understand, or she should, is that Scylla Dowdy, where is she? The best photographer ever. Thousands and thousands of photographs through our lifetime. Maybe 1% of those actually made it to print, though. We still have, they find boxes full of old, undeveloped film rolls. Yeah. But anyway, Jefferson came home when we lived in, or he's born when we were in Jacksonville, North Carolina. I still remember there was a bassinet that sat in the corner of our living room between two bay windows there on Raintree Circle in Jacksonville, North Carolina. And you could see that bassinet from the kitchen. So I guess Mom could cook and still look at you. But if you look through that, you look from the kitchen into that bassinet, you'd see two figures standing over that bassinet. Well, one was curly haired and she didn't quite reach the top there. And she was on tippy toes, and then there was me looking down. And we were so excited to have a baby brother come. Betsy finally was a big sister, and she had a baby to play with. And and I had a brother that I was so excited to be able to play with and talk to. I remember praying for you to have your first word, and when that came 7 or 8 years later, when that came 7 or 8 years later, we couldn't shut it off. It was like a, so I wonder if that was a good prayer to have him speak. But through the years, we had a 5-year. There's a 5-year difference between Jefferson and I, and so growing up 5 years when you're younger, I mean that's a big difference in age. And you know, when I kind of know math. When he was 5. I was not 10, and you know, just leapfrog it that way. So there's a big difference. But once I got to high school, and Jefferson was in junior high, and some of those fools are back here from California. I didn't mean that literally, but yeah, okay, yeah. Once we got into high school, you know, once I was in high school, Jefferson and I and some of my friends would play football with some of these guys back here and play on the street ball, and that was kind of interaction through that time. But it wasn't until I went to college and came back to see Jefferson and watched him play football at Carlsbad High School, all decked out in purple from all the way up, and his sack dance was probably one of the best I've ever seen. There was a roll involved, like a somersault after he got his tackles or his sacks. But it took some time for us to get close. Even though we were roommates, you know, we didn't have a whole lot in common. He loved or we had a lot in common, but we didn't. That didn't make sense. I take all that back. He was really into the Roy Rogers videos. Anyone remember Roy Rogers? It was way before our time, but he was watching them in black and white. Had his red cowboy boots that he wore everywhere we were. In fact, we moved to his diaper. That's right. I was going to get to that story. You just ruined it. No, I'm just kidding, Marla. I'm just kidding. But seriously, now you've ruined the punchline. No. Anyway, we moved to Iceland, and when we got to Iceland, Jefferson didn't understand that it's quite a bit colder in Iceland than it was in North Carolina, removed from, and he would gallivant outside, let's say gallivant, I like that.
I don't know what that means, so I'm offended.
Promenade outside in his red cowboy boots and just a diaper, and some of our neighbors had to call Mom and say, hey, you have a little son with red cowboy boots? Well, he's hanging out outside in 40-degree weather and 20 mile an hour knot, or 20 knot winds anyway.
Miles an hour?
No, it's not nautical miles per hour. I'm gonna skip through. I was gonna tell every year of his life, but I figured that would take way too long. So let me just skip on. I'm gonna skip to some high school stuff because I knew Jefferson always wanted to be a Marine, but I can tell you there's some instances where I wasn't quite sure if he had the skills to be a Marine. And I'm gonna say this. One of them is reconnaissance. I don't think he quite understood, survey your surroundings to make sure everything's good. I can tell one time, I'm going to tell this because I don't think Mom and Dad know this, but I'm going to tell it. It's okay, you're married. I think they only did it once, let's just say that. Took some water balloons. And they like to throw them at friends' cars, only friends, people they knew only. But one of them happened to be a police officer driving down La Real. And you gotta second guess that, thinking there. But at least they ran on that one. Anyway, I don't want to tell all those stories, but I just wanted to talk about how excited we are to have Marla in the family. I mean, Layla and I were lucky to have Jefferson and Marla up when we lived in D.C. last year. They stayed with us a couple times. Marla was in town and stayed with us, and we got to really get to see them personally and together, and that, it cemented it for us. Marla loved what Jefferson, Layla, and I love, which is smooth jazz, and we were able to enjoy smooth jazz Friday afternoons in the gardens there in D.C. How special Marla is, and how you two connect, and how you really take two halves and make a whole. And I was so proud of Jefferson for finding you and somehow hooking you and convincing you that this would be okay. And being the marketer that I am, I kind of helped because I'm trying to sell him. I think I did a good job. The transaction is complete. You have said your vows. You've signed the document. There is no return, so I can say these things now. One thing you have to know about Jefferson is, you probably do, but he's quite stubborn. Jefferson, yeah. He's hard-headed, stubborn guy. He knows what he knows, and he's going to stick to that whether it's completely wrong or not. But he has conviction, so we'll spin it as he's got great conviction, so that's great. Let me tell you this one other one. Jefferson's also good at getting out and doing things around the house, so let's get on that right now. One thing is. Every Saturday was Dad, Jefferson, and I had to do the yard work, and I enjoyed it because I don't know why I like the yard work, but Jefferson was the opposite. He's like, I'm not doing any of that. So here is the trick to getting out of this. The first thing you do is first you feel like you have no clue how to start this mower. It's never going to start. It's not working. It's broken. So that's step one. Dad or I come in and start it. Okay, we get handed it off. He's like, okay, well, I'm gonna make a line like this. Mow the lawn, miss some spots, and say, I'm done. And then you never want to let him do that again because you end up fixing it anyway, so you might as well not start with him. So just skip that and teach him to do his things that he needs to do early on. But all the kidding aside, Jefferson's got every great quality that you want in a husband. He's loyal. I mean, there's stories of him at Ole Miss. Even I'm gonna skip high school, but really in Ole Miss, Betsy was at school too, and any word he heard that someone had treated Betsy poorly, said one thing wrong, he was over there in a second. He was there to stand by Betsy, stand by his family, and that loyalty. I mean, it's the best trait in a Marine, but it's an even better trait in a husband. He's got that loyalty, and I'm so proud of him for that. Another thing that he has is dedication. He sticks to something when he gets in his mind to do it, he's going to do it. Just like becoming a Marine officer. That day of his commissioning was one of the proudest moments of a big brother's life. And I was so proud to see him pinned on those bars, because I knew that when he was 5, all the way, that was his goal, and he got to that goal. Anyway, I want to kind of wrap this up because I'm rambling, but well, I don't have any more stories. That's actually the truth. Anyway, to Marla and Jefferson, I'm so excited for you all. I mean, both of you are made for each other, and I'm so happy to have you in the Dowdy family, and have an extra sister on board here. And you know, I do have to give you one warning. By my calculations, you have about 4 months. 4 months until the new wears off, because there's another Dowdy on the way. And so, you've got 4 months to be the new kid on the block. And after that happens, we got the golden child on the way.
We'll see.
However, let's plant the seed, get to working. So grab your glass if you have one. Hot mic. To Jefferson and Marla, may all your days be easy. They won't be. May they be paved with gold. Probably not. Love you so much. Cheers.
Cheers. We have a special prize for Lieutenant Dowdy. All right, it's the time of the night to cut the cake, so you guys enjoy.
Sir.